Well, good afternoon, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you wonderful ladies, you know that this literally does not work. And one thing you can say a lot of things about me, but one thing you can't say is that I don't work. I work my ass off to make sure you're up to date with the Dallas Cowboys and the goings on in the NFL. And we now have signed, as of right now, Milik Hooker. Welcome to the Dallas Cowboys officially. Something we've been talking about since he came in on Friday for a physical. He will be wearing the number 28. That's right, Milik Hooker has been hooked by the Dallas Cowboys and will start working out probably tomorrow. So it's officially signed, sealed, and delivered. We'll definitely talk about this tonight on our live stream coming up at 9 o'clock Eastern, making up for yesterday's show. You know, I just got so much stuff that's going on that sometimes we're going to have to shift some things around. But this is, to me, great news. And this, to me, is part of the whole thing that the Dallas Cowboys have done differently. If you watch the Hall of Fame inductees interviews that I did, when you listen to Jimmy Johnson, you know, everybody's always talking about, you know, we need the Herschel Walker trade. And Jimmy will say, that was part of it, but it wasn't all of it. He said, you got to understand, we brought in, we did 51 different trades, along with going for a guy who was thought to be overweight and too fat for the Washington football team. And we ended up making him a Pro Bowl guard in Nate Newton. We took a 240-pound guard and we made him into a center in Mark Spagnowski. Okay? So the thing you have to look at is you've got to bring in people. You've got to go ahead and try and find the guys that fit. Sometimes the best player isn't the best player for your system. He might not fit what you want to do. And a lot of times you'll see great players go someplace and they're not good at someplace else because it's just not a good fit for what you're doing. And sometimes it's not always about having just the very best players. Sometimes it's about having the best players for what you do. So shout out to the Dallas Cowboys who brought in not just one, but 3 safeties. And technically, because you've got Keanu O'Neal, who you've got playing a linebacker position, and I believe that that's going to be more of a hybrid safety position. It's funny because you want to try and anticipate what it is that a team is going to do. What are the Cowboys' identity going to be? You know, you see an article this morning that was talking about Mike McCarthy would like to get back to the run. I don't see that one. So you're telling me that Mike McCarthy, Mr. Pass Happy himself, who now has a quarterback who is on pace to basically throw for 6,500 yards last year, who's got an Amari Cooper, a Michael Gallup, a CD Lamb, a Tony Pollard, who you've had him going out at wide receiver, that we are going to go ahead and Mike McCarthy really wants to run. Who comes up with this shit? Because here's my thing. This is my thought. And again, I mean, I'm not a paid analyst, or I don't work for ESPN or Fox Sports 1 or the NFL Network. I'm not a former NFL player like Dan Orlowski that's an, expert out there. I'm Joe the fan, who's just giving you my personal take. And my take is that Mike McCarthy probably has the best wide receiving core that he's ever had. I'm not going to say that he's got the best quarterback that he's ever had, but he might have the best one for what he's trying to do. One that's actually working with him as opposed to holding a grudge against him. Who may actually listen to what you're trying to do and accomplish as opposed to saying, fuck you, I'm going to do it my own way. You know, diva-like. I believe that what the Dallas Cowboys are building is we're going to score on you every time we get the football. And we don't care how fast it's going to be. We're going to be a track meet. And we challenge you to try and keep up. Because I'm looking at this defense, bringing in, because people will say, oh, well, you know, we got KZ, and now you got Hooker, that both of them will. Yeah, actually, I think both of them will. Because I think the way you look at it, because a lot of people say, Jalen Smith, you know, the writing's on the wall. I don't think so. I think that Jerry Jones is looking back at the 90s now that he's reflecting on firing and fucking it up with Jimmy Johnson. Pardon my language, but you got to put it in the context of exactly what he said. The Dallas Cowboys of the 90s literally amassed more talent than anybody else. And they could bludgeon people to death. We're just going to outlast you. We're going to throw wave after wave of people at you, and sooner or later you're going to wear down. So, if that's the case with the Cowboys with this offense that could be a score at will, then you want to design a defense that's going to have to be on the field a lot. You have to design a defense that's going to be going against a lot of passes because teams are trying to score to keep up with you. Hence, why you get yourself 2 ball-hawking safeties back there. Hence, why you amass and have a guy like Micah Parsons who you're putting in rushing sometimes from the defensive tackle or the outside linebacker or from the Mike linebacker, that you're creating this mismatch. Because when you have teams that are trying to hurry up and run and run and run, and you throw a wave of fresh bodies at it that you don't know what's coming from, you get takeaways. And that's where I see the Cowboys getting away from older players. We need young pups that can run. We need athletic guys that have length. We need guys that can put pressure on and make the offensive linemen have their heads on a swivel, because it's going to be like whack-a-mole. The offense, it's going to be crazy. And this is the grand plan, I believe, that the Dallas Cowboys might try and challenge for the NFL record in points. Changed my mind. All right, y'all. Time for me to go back to work. Welcome to the Cowboys, Milik Hooker.